Are scientists working on space technology being assassinated? The mysterious deaths finally got a mention at the White House press briefing, to which Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt responded,
If true, of course, that's definitely something I think this government and administration would deem worth looking into, so let me do that for you.
Thank you.
Trump has since spoken on the matter, telling reporters that this is,
well, I hope it's random, but we're going to know in the next week and a half. I just left the meeting on that subject, so pretty serious stuff, but we're going to be hopefully, I don't know, coincidence, if you whatever you want to call it, but some of them were very important people, and we're going to look at it over the next short period.
well, if they're looking into it the same way they have with the Epstein files, then we're likely to not get any answers. So what's going on with these mysterious deaths? And most importantly, is the Marconi Conspiracy from the 80s happening all over again? So far, 11 scientists have met an untimely end in just the past 3 years. 5 are missing, and the other 6 have died under unusual circumstances. Let's start with the most notable individual, retired U.S. Air Force Major General William Neal McCaslin. He worked at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio, and oversaw a $2.2 billion science and technology program, as well as a customer-funded research and development program worth $2.2 billion. McCaslin also oversaw a global workforce of nearly 11,000 people across laboratory technology directorates, the 711th Human Performance Wing in the Air Force Office of Scientific Research. Although his wife denies it, it's rumored that he oversaw classified government programs that intersected with UAPs. He was last seen near his home. McCaslin's wife called 911 and said, quote, "My husband is missing. It's been about 3 hours, and I have some indication that he must have planned not to be found. I think he's on foot. All of our cars and bicycles are in the garage." Next, we have Stephen Garcia, a government contractor at the Kansas City National Security Campus, which manufactures non-nuclear components for nuclear weapons. He was last seen leaving his home on foot and carrying a handgun. Next, we have Anthony Chavez. He was a former employee at Los Alamos National Laboratory. Chavez was last seen leaving his home on foot. He left his car locked in the driveway and took off without his wallet, keys, or any other personal items. Melissa Cassius was an administrative worker also at Los Alamos National Laboratory. She decided to work from home that day. She took lunch to her daughter and then vanished. She was last seen walking alongside the highway without her phone, wallet, or keys. As of last September, Teos News reported that, quote, "her disappearance has left more questions than answers." Monica Reza was the director of materials processing at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. As an aerospace engineer, she worked on burn-resistant and high-strength metal alloys. She also had connection to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Reza was last seen hiking in the Los Angeles forest along Angeles Crest Highway with a friend. She was just 30 feet behind this individual, but vanished suddenly. Rescue teams searched for days, but never recovered a body. Nuno Loureiro was director of MIT's Plasma Science and Fusion Center. His murder was attributed to a rivalry with another scientist from Portugal. Carl Grillmeyer was a Caltech astrophysicist who worked on NASA's NEOWISE and NEO-Surveyor missions. Grillmeyer was known for his work on collisions of galaxies and his search for water outside our solar system. He was shot to death on his front porch. A man arrested for carjacking that same day was charged for killing Grillmeyer. There was no clear motive for his murder, however. Michael David Hicks was a research scientist at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. He worked on the Deep Space One mission and DART project, which tested whether asteroids could be deflected. His cause of death has not been disclosed. Frank Maiwald was the principal researcher at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. His cause of death has not been disclosed either. Jason Thomas was a pharmaceutical researcher at Novartis working on cancer treatments. Thomas was reported missing by his wife when he didn't come home from work. 3 months after vanishing, his body was recovered from Lake Quannapowitt in Wakefield. Amy Eskridge is the most recent case to come to light. She died on June 11, 2022. She was actively researching and trying to develop anti-gravity technology, which is a way to cancel or control gravity. A breakthrough in this domain would revolutionize space travel and energy production. Before her death, she warned that her life was in danger. Eskridge died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. The police nor the medical examiners have released any information of an investigation occurring. She founded an institute with her father, a retired NASA engineer that specialized in plasma physics and fusion technology, which is a form of advanced propulsion. Amy talked publicly about the dangers of her work. On a podcast episode, she said, quote, "If you stick your neck out in public, at least someone notices if your head gets chopped off. If you stick your neck out in private, they will bury you. They will burn down your house while you're sleeping in your bed, and it won't even make the news. That's why this institute exists." Her father has accepted her death as a self-inflicted gunshot wound, telling News Nation that, quote, "Scientists die also, just like other people." Now, at this point, you might think this sounds like the makings of a good conspiracy, people going missing or ending up dead under very strange circumstances, all of whom worked in space technology. It's said that history repeats itself, and this must be true of conspiracies too. Enter the Marconi Conspiracy. Between 1982 and 1990, more than 24 scientists, defense engineers, programmers, and contractors connected to classified British weapons programs died under suspicious circumstances. Only one was attributed to natural causes. Most of these deaths were connected to GEC Marconi, one of Britain's most important defense contractors. These deaths involved scientists working on the Strategic Defense Initiative, commonly referred to as Star Wars. This was a space-based missile program created by President Ronald Reagan. Some believe the deaths were part of a KGB or Eastern Bloc conspiracy to kill the scientists. There was never a formal inquiry into the deaths or how they were connected. An official explanation for the mysterious pattern of deaths has never been provided. The UK Defence Ministry declared the cluster to be a coincidence, most likely due to the high stress associated with the secret defense research. So how did these people die, and was it unusual? Well, 6 of the deaths were car crashes, including David Sands, who drove his car into an empty cafe. It exploded into flames with the help of 2 5-gallon cans of gas in the back seat. 5 people died from carbon monoxide poisoning. 3 jumped to their deaths, including one found with a needle mark on his buttocks and another who initially survived the jump, but then later said he had no idea how he ended up there. One person drove off a bridge. 2 people died from a plastic bag on their head. Both of those were ruled sexual misadventure. One person went missing and found himself in Paris, unsure of how he got there. Another person died from a self-inflicted shotgun wound. Now, if you're not convinced that this is a conspiracy yet, then just listen to some of the stranger deaths in the Marconi Conspiracy. One guy died by attaching wires to his chest and pushing them into a power socket. Within hours of his death, the Ministry of Defense arrived to take documents away. Another guy strapped wires into his tooth fillings and electrocuted himself. One woman was found gagged, hands bound behind her back, feet tied, and a noose around her neck. Her death was ruled self-inflicted, despite failing to explain how she walked in 4-inch heels into a lake to drown herself. Strangely enough, her company was bought by GEC Marconi a week after her death. Her murder was later blamed on a serial rapist. One man drowned himself in the bathtub, surrounded by pills and empty alcohol bottles. However, the autopsy showed no trace of drugs or alcohol in his system. One man tied a rope to his neck and the other end to a tree. He then jammed on the gas pedal and decapitated himself. Another strange coincidence is that within a year of GEC Marconi purchasing the high-tech firm Plessy, 2 of its scientists showed up dead. We don't know what the truth is, and maybe we never will. But there is one thing I know for sure. Whatever story the government tells me, especially about these scientists, I won't believe. As comedian Lenny Bruce once said, "You know there's no crooked politicians. There's never a lie because there is never any truth." Now that you know where we've been, find out where we're going. Tune in to Ladies Love Politics, where you can stay informed without going insane.